I was watching a show today, getting ready for the gym this morning, and this nostalgic feeling from childhood came back. There was a character whose face just instantly brought up this feeling of just like, bro, that dude is the, like, it was kind of a wild little nostalgic feeling, right? You know, I had to think for a second, who was this guy? And you know, me being an early 80s baby, some of you maybe will recognize a few of these titles I'm gonna drop here in a second. So this character, he played someone called Rufio in a movie called Hook. It was like a Peter Pan movie when I was in grade school. You know, sword fights, and he had like a surfboard, skateboard things, wild hair, you know, some major swagger. I mean, probably the one that everybody would think of the most, you know, Maverick from Top Gun. You know, that feeling you got for me, I think first grade when the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie came out. And then the number one most foundational, like the character that had the most impact on my life was from a movie about BMX bikes called Rad, Cru Jones, right? So we've all got that character. Yours might be completely different. You probably recognize one or two of those. But, you know, that feeling, it was never as intense in adult life as during childhood, but there's still that aspirational feeling that we experience throughout life. As we grow, we evolve. Maybe those aspirational characters are different. But there's something that I've learned over the last few years and internalized, that this message is such a powerful message, and along this journey, I'm beginning to see and feel this now. And so when I was just at the beginning of this, the people that I needed most came into my life at just the right time, the message from the right content creators. The one that had the most impact, the best message, and how I see this truly applying to my life and how I believe it can apply to yours. This individual, what I've seen is no longer really congruent with that message, but the message itself, everything I took away from that, I'm keeping it forever. I'm extremely grateful. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to say anything bad about this guy. I don't know what's going on. He's a very controversial character, so some of you might recognize what I'm going to say here, but this feeling that was, you know, external from somebody like Cru Jones, Rufio, Teenage Turtles, Maverick, whoever it is when we were little, that's something that is actually supposed to come inward. It's something that we're supposed to see in the mirror, right? The message from this man is that our purpose in life, and I think this is a prerequisite to everything else. So I'll come right back to this in a second. If you want to be an athlete, there is a prerequisite that if you get into gymnastics and you get good at gymnastics, which I didn't, but I know that if you become really baller at gymnastics, man, you have got the skills to go into anything you want. Combat sports, team sports, action sports. It's really a prerequisite to everything, right? So everything else that we envision for ourselves, for the impact that we're going to have on the world, on our community, on your family, if you have one, it all starts with this other thing first. And it is that our mission as a man is to create the man who you admire most in every single way. That person is going to be capable of doing anything and everything they want, whatever their vision is. And I've made it a long ways, but you know, I don't have it all completely unlocked, but I'm always moving in the same direction. Like I just said in a recent video, new levels, new devils. I'm starting to understand there's some self-image, some spiritual deficits that I'm becoming conscious of, and working actively, proactively, to understand and do the things I need to just remove these mental and spiritual barriers and blocks that are honestly the subconscious reason I haven't elevated further at this point. I've made it a long ways, and I know I'm only going in one direction, but I'm still a work in progress. So this concept here's another one. I get this from Jaspreet Singh. This guy is an amazing investor, a wonderful financial mind. Somebody that really helped me kind of put together my thesis and understanding of finance and economics, which has been, like everything, I overdid it. I took it to almost an unhealthy level, just becoming absolutely hyper obsessed with understanding every single bit and piece of how all this stuff works. I've formed my thesis, I've got my different investments, I've got my strategy, and at this point, no matter how wild things get in the world, because right now, who knows when you're going to see this, right now we're in the middle of this Strait of Hormuz stuff, and I realized that this thing that I'm working towards, I've got to clear out all the stuff that keeps the wrong parts of my brain and anxiety and energy firing. I've already got my plan. I've got my tactics. Nothing's going to change. I've got my land. I've got my big box of silver. I've got my Bitcoin. And now I'm just putting little bits and pieces in, making wise decisions. And that's that. So Jaspreet Singh says you need to be fit in all areas of life. Physically fit, spiritually fit, mentally fit, financially fit. I've got a couple of those on lock, and I've got a couple of those I'm working on. But once you get to the point where you truly can look in the mirror, somebody's going to try to hit me here. When you can truly look in the mirror and you can feel the way about yourself that Maverick or Cru Jones or Vanilla Ice on stage singing Go Ninja Go or whatever, whoever your character was. Your characters, the people that you really loved when you were young, that just brought those butterflies into your stomach, that just made you feel hyped, right? When you can look in the mirror and truly feel that about yourself, there's this vibration, this energy, this deep sense of self-belief that, no matter what goes right or what goes wrong, you are that man. And that man can do amazing things for himself and for the world. So today's message is just sharing a couple of them that I have truly internalized. This is my pursuit. My purpose on this planet is to bring you along on my journey, to build the comeback camp, to provide guidance and direction, to help people who are just simmering in the depths of hell, like I was for a long time, to start to understand enough of the different pieces of the puzzle to start moving forward. And I'm not Bedros Keuilian, which is that this guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I think he has like 7 businesses. He came from really rough, humble beginnings. This man is somebody who I definitely see as an aspirational figure, and he had a wonderful, great, tough love message. He's one of these guys that at the beginning I really needed, and I still check in on him every once in a while. I think it's good just to continually keep a bit of that in our consciousness, right? But I've gotten the message that he's got, and it's been really valuable to me. But I've taken enough of it in, I've deployed enough of it in my life. Now the next level is really getting this mental and spiritual deep self-belief, getting rid of this fear and scarcity feeling that's been trained deep into all of us, by the traditional education system, by industrialization, by what worked for past generations that doesn't work for us now, or is working less and less and isn't going to work at all, And for me, this is a wonderful thing. I was always great at problem solving. My scientific reasoning was off the charts, but I absolutely hated the classroom, fitting into one box, realizing there's so much different potential capabilities. I can understand way things connect, things connect together in ways that most people just don't see. That's a gift that I've only recently truly understood, that this is not normal and this is something special. And this was part of why I was such a challenging kid in school. And man, how did I make it through university? That was not the right place for me. It still led to wonderful things in my life. But the classroom, traditional jobs, all of the limitations of how many hours can I work? I can only work so many. How many dollars can I trade those hours for? And quite possibly, whether for me right now as an independent business owner, managing and building brands for others, it's how many different projects or clients can you take on? Are there times that you don't have enough work? These are all things that I'm slowly developing in my life to eliminate, to be completely self-reliant. And we'll talk about more about that at other times. But that's the man that I admire most, is a man who does not have to rely on anybody else for anything else, who is not compliant, who is not submissive, who is not limited by hours, dollars he can trade those hours for, just by sales from 1 or 2 streams of revenue. There's so much more out there now. And it's just a good feeling to know that once you develop these habits, physical fitness is the foundation to everything. Physical fitness is how you change the way you see yourself. When you say you're going to do something, you do it every single time. I never miss my workouts. I get up at 3:30 in the morning every single day. I eat right all the time. I never put alcohol in my body. I'm just shy of 1,000 days. It's 60 or 59 days until 1,000 days. I'm never, ever drinking again. I was over a liter of vodka a day for years and then some. That man, regardless of how many different cool things I might have done in my life or how much potential and capabilities I had, I didn't admit it to myself, but when I looked in the mirror, I saw a skinny, fat, drunk, addicted, divorced, defeated, loser ass piece. But I might not have said it consciously, but I knew it deeply. And that's the great thing. When you adopt this understanding, you start to develop these habits. This is the beginning of how you change your momentum, of how you see yourself as someone different. And it took me 2 years until my last drink, after my first day stepping into the gym. And I didn't realize, I had no idea how much this was going to snowball. But because of those daily actions and habits, which this is a message from the man whose name I'm not dropping, plain and simple, have amazing habits and don't break. Those habits change your self-speak, they change who you see in the mirror, and they just give you more and more strength and confidence and capabilities, ability to push forward through hard things, and the ability to abstain from temptation, from whatever form of vice that's holding you back. And for me, it was definitely things that were going into my body. That was about the worst thing, whether it was alcohol, whether it was unhealthy food, and really, unhealthy content too. Watching things like, man, I don't watch adult content now. When it's weird when you're unhealthy, when you're mentally and spiritually unhealthy, things like that, you're just drawn to. It's weird, and you start getting good, and it's like it loses its appeal. So we're almost back to the client shop. Someday you guys will get to see some more really cool things there, but this stage of my journey, what we're doing right now together, this is building. I'm bringing you along. I want to show you the challenges. You need to understand the places that I don't have unlocked yet, and along the way, over time, you and I will be able to look back and see the constant evolution, because this is just something I know for a fact. I'm amazed I didn't dump my coffee everywhere. That, man, 4.5 years of momentum, 4.5 years of developing something different that I see in the mirror. 4.5 years has given me I've found my purpose through my addiction, through everything that went wrong, through everything that I screwed up in my life. It was all my own fault. With my businesses, with my injury, with my divorce, with everything. It's all my freaking fault. In one way or another, when you look far enough back the line, it's always your fault. And then what do? Well, we can't control certain things that happen to us, like my business partner getting in a wreck with a semi-truck on the highway. But we can control how we respond to it, how we react, and what we do with it. So, I love you. I'm going to keep coming back. I've been off doing something else that's deeply meaningful to my heart, and over time you'll get to see the reason why I haven't been here posting. It was a positive thing. Last winter was rough, and there's a video that will come out before this that tells you a little bit about it, but I didn't stop posting because of the, the negative place that I was in. And I never stopped with my habits. And those habits, getting up early every day and working out and continuing to create the man that I admire, even when things were really freaking rough on me. That got me through. I didn't lean on my vices. I didn't do anything that isn't in alignment with the man that I'm creating. And that is not something I could have done years ago. It's not something I would have done at the beginning. So sometimes they're big, uncomfortable steps. Sometimes they're little incremental changes. But whatever you do, just keep moving in one direction. And over time, I'm 4.5 years into this journey since I stepped into the gym and started changing everything. This didn't really truly become my identity until well over 3 years after that, and well over a year without alcohol. It will become your identity. Just keep moving in the same direction. And when I'm going to look in the mirror today, I want to see Cru Jones, Rufio. I'm going to see Kino from the Teenage Turtles. And, I'm just going to keep working on these things that I haven't quite dialed yet. And we're going to talk about them along the way. As I make progress and I've got the receipts to show you, we'll come back and talk about it more. And I'll help give some guidance that'll be useful to you. Love you. Have an awesome day.